Yo, what is up guys? It is Bumfris, back with episode 53 of our Reddit series. This one's going to be some more entitled parents, and I know you're going to love this one. Just a quick thank you for all the recent love. We're getting close to that 225,000 mark already, and I cannot thank you all enough. I'm really glad you like these videos, and I hope this one's no different. Now sit back, relax, and get annoyed at some entitled parents. So, we'll set the Wayback Machine to when my son was not yet a teenager. Oh, almost forgot. I am not writing this on mobile, English is my native language, and peanut butter. Anyway, my son had a young boy that would come over occasionally. I wouldn't call them friends exactly, but they were young, probably 2 to 4 years difference, and my son was probably 13 at the time. Every time this young man entered our house, something went missing, little things, but still inconvenient. On this particular day, my son told me that this boy had not only taken several of his Xbox games, but had texted him that he was not returning them unless a fee was paid. Naturally, I went completely ballistic. I took a few deep breaths, and we had run-ins with this boy's family before, and because the uncle was no stranger to the criminal system, it usually did not end in our favor. However, this time, with the text in hand, I feel like we had a little more to go on. I called the sheriff and explained the situation. When they told me that the value of the games put it in a slightly more serious category, as well as that they were taken while we were in the home, that this might be more actionable. A deputy arrived and I showed him the text, and we proceed to walk down to the boy's house. The reception at the door was as expected, evasive and hostile, with the uncle chiming in with his jailhouse lawyer BS. Eventually, the games were found, but at that point, Grandma grabbed them and started raising a storm. See? He's got his name on them. They are his. He ain't giving them back. The deputy shown Grandma the text messages and advised her, as he pulled out the handcuffs, that the then thief is about to be arrested for the theft of $500 and a burglary of an occupied structure. Jailhouse lawyer uncle shut up, Grandma shut up, the thief handed over the games, and my son checked to make sure they were all intact. From that point on, the thief was no longer permitted anywhere near my property. We still had the occasional run-ins with him and his family, but after that, they were all considerably less confrontational. Thank you for your time. What's up with these entitled parents being outright criminals? Who lets their kid go to somebody else's house, straight up steal things, and then hold that stuff to ransom over them? I swear you'd have to be pretty damn low to be as bad as this person. Hello everyone. I worked for a few years as a front desk supervisor at a hotel attached to an indoor water park. I have a lot of stories involving entitled parents, entitled kids, and a ton of crazies, but this entitled mum was one of the worst. I didn't deal with her personally, but I had to deal with her aftermath, and the head of security and the water park told me the whole story. TK stands for traumatized kid, WP stands for water park. It was the dead of winter, late in February, and due to the freezing cold, the indoor water park attracted lots of families. It was a packed Saturday, but after the check-in rush, the lobby was a ghost town. I was working the front desk alone, shooting the crap with the security guards, when a call came over the radio from the WP. Our head of security, we'll call him Don, was a stocky bear of a guy and the king of calm authority. He could look at a rowdy group and they'd stop cold, but he knew how to handle himself if they didn't. He calmly walked down the hall to the WP, rookie security guard in tow, and I waited for them to come back with the story. They were gone less than 10 minutes, and the fire alarm starts blaring. I hear Ron yell over the radio that it was a false alarm, and to bring the shuttles around to pick up the water park guests, and my heart sank. It was past 10 PM and at least negative 10 degrees outside, and a whole bunch of soaking wet people must have walked out into the cold, not to mention a horde of angry guests upstairs. Thankfully, the alarm was diffused quickly, and we caught most people from leaving the lobby, and the shuttle circled the building to intercept any guests who went outside with warm blankets. After a bit, Don and the rookie returned. The rookie was splattered with cake and holding a bandage on his hand, and Don dives into the story. The entitled mum was hosting her 8-year-old's birthday party in the WP. Our catered birthday package included cake, pizza, and all-day WP passes for the party guests. Entitled mum took that as, "You can watch my kid," and spent the day harassing the lifeguards to bring her fresh towels and drinks, claiming too many seats for her friends, and generally ignoring her daughter. The trouble really started around 10 PM, because the restaurant and bar closed and entitled mum suddenly wanted to go home. She couldn't see her daughter because it was a large park, so entitled mum started screaming and cussing loudly for her to get out of the water. Lifeguards tried to quiet her down, but she angrily pushed past them, threatening her daughter. The entitled mum says, "TK, you better get out of the water. You have until the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And security arrived just as she shouted 3, walked calmly to the wall, and before they realized what she was doing, she pulled the fire alarm. And then she says, "Now everyone has to get out of the water because you didn't listen. This is your fault, TK." And the lifeguards and security were stunned, but they quickly went after her and she wobble ran back to the party balcony. When they catch up to her, she says, Get away from me. You were too lazy to get her out, so I had to. Mind you, she was wearing a swimsuit and could have easily gone in the park to get her child. The rookie starts going for her, and entitled mum picks up the leftover cake from the party and hurls the tray at him and the lifeguards. When the rookie reeled back in surprise, she tackled him. Don managed to rip her off by the scuff of her neck and subdue her, but she seemed to manage to get a nasty bite on Rookie's hand. The police were called and entitled mum was arrested for assault, and TK was taken home by her aunt. I spent the rest of the night calming down furious guests with frightened or freezing children, but it felt good to know entitled mum was arrested. Let me know if you want more, cause I've got lots. You know what I really love? When a good entitled parent story ends with one of them being arrested. That's either one person that's out of the streets for a little bit, or that's one entitled mum who's learnt their lesson, so hopefully they never act like that again. Who am I really kidding? These entitled parents just never change. Hey guys, so I always thought that the entitled parents thing only really happened with young kids. No. That's not the case. My wife and I just went to the rodeo to see a concert and eat some food that we would inevitably regret later. It was Cardi B. I'm not a fan, but my wife is. Anyway, you have to take a bus to the actual rodeo because of various parking places. We are standing on this bus waiting for the stop to get off, and the entitled parent keeps staring at my wife's hand. My wife is way too nice and started a conversation. I won't go into the dialogue chat because, to be honest, I don't remember it word for word. However, it went something along the lines of this. My wife and the entitled parent started talking. The wife initiated it because she felt uncomfortable with the staring from the lady, and it eventually got onto a topic of my wife's wedding ring. We just got married in May. The entitled parent told my wife that she loves her ring, and then she asked to see it. My wife looks at me for help, and I, being the firmer in nature one, said, "I'm sorry, but that's not appropriate. We really don't know you." Basically, the stuff anyone would say when a random ass person asks to see your wedding ring. Keep in mind, my wife still had it on her finger when the entitled parent FaceTimes her daughter. She basically zooms in on my wife's hand and asks if she likes this set. The daughter says yeah, it's cute, and the mum basically does a "okay, thanks, bye," and hangs up the phone. This I do remember word for word, because I'm pretty sure my eyebrows hit the ceiling. Give me your wedding ring because my daughter's boyfriend wants to propose but can't afford one. I look at her and I swear I laughed for a solid 10 seconds before I realized that she was serious. My wife is looking at me like, who is this lady? And I was just overall surprised by the woman. I kid you not, this woman reached over and grabbed my wife's hand. My wife made a fist so that she couldn't get the ring, and I pushed the woman's hand off my wife and told her that that was enough. She started to scream and people were staring, but my wife told the people what was going on and they turned around. Yet no one thought to help. Anyway, the woman persisted to try and get the ring some more, and she looked at us and said, "You can obviously afford it. I'm trying to make my baby's dreams come true," or something along those lines. I finally told her that if she puts her hands on my wife again, she's going to catch an attempted robbery charge as well as an assault charge. She moved through the bus, but not before I screamed that she is trying to steal things from people, so they should watch out. She made the bus driver stop somewhere random so she could get off. That was the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. This one seems like a perfectly normal story. You see a ring on somebody's finger, you decide that it's yours all of a sudden. I mean, I must admit, it sucks there was no justice done to this entitled parent, but at the end of the day, at least she didn't get any benefit from it. Just another entitled parent doing entitled parent things. Last summer, at the Dolly Parton Stampede in Tennessee, my family and I visited for a show. My husband and I live in Germany, and we were visiting my parents for the first time after having our son. He was 8 months old and still mostly breastfed. Now, I knew that America has a lot of different feelings about public breastfeedings than Germany does, so I asked the hostess if there was a private place to breastfeed my son. She told me no, but there was a sofa in the woman's bathroom and that was going to be the most private, quiet place to feed him. I gladly thanked her and went to the restroom, baby in tow. When we arrived, there was a big line leading out of the restroom as people were trying to do their business before the show started. In the corner next to the entrance, I spotted the sofa and kindly asked to sneak by to feed my son. No problems here, the woman made a bit of space for me, we sat down and I started to feed him. Now, I'm not very shy about breastfeeding, and it was also the middle of summer in Tennessee, so I didn't have any kind of cover. I did wear a special shirt for breastfeeding, and I turned myself slightly towards the wall so I wouldn't disturb anyone. My son's head covers the goods anyway, so I figured no big deal. I'm sitting here, feeding my kid, minding my own business, when I hear a mum with her 2 kids, a boy about 6 and a girl around 4, begin speaking to her children about me. They had some questions. The little boy says, "Mum, what's she doing?" And the mum goes, "She's just giving her baby milk. Babies sometimes get milk from their mummy's boobs." And the boy says, "Oh, okay." He seems quite satisfied with her answer and smiled at me. I smiled back. I was just about to switch boobs when out of nowhere, another woman about 50 or 60 years old chimes in. She says, "Well, I think it's quite inappropriate what she's doing. and the mum just asks her why. She's feeding her kid, and she says, "That's fine, but she should be doing that in private." And the mum says, "Well, we are in a restroom." And the woman goes, "No, she should be doing that in a stall." And the mum says, "You mean on the toilet? That's gross. Would you eat your dinner in the toilet?" The woman continues to grumble to the mum about how young parents are so entitled these days and how I'm flashing my boobs and how she didn't come here to see all of that. Mind you, I've been pretty careful the whole time to make sure I'm not exposed. I don't respond at all because I'm the type of person that can get very heated very fast. I knew that wouldn't do any good. This is when a hero who worked at the show, I think as a waitress, comes out of one of the stalls. She seems to have heard the entire conversation and casually says as she washes her hands, "You know, the couch there is specifically for breastfeeding mothers." The woman ceases as it's now her turn. She stops into the stall and does her business. I finish up, wash my hands, and give a nod to the mum and the waitress. I never saw the annoying woman again, and I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I suppose this story makes me the entitled parent simply for wanting to feed my baby and being much too stuck up and entitled to do that on a toilet. Well, a lot of you asked for it, and here it is. Two entitled parents facing off with one another. Now, this is something that divides opinion, so I don't want to get into that, but at the end of the day, this woman actually did go into private and make sure that she wasn't doing it in front of everyone as much as she could. This woman has to be pretty damn entitled to not be okay with that. This just happened today and it pisses me off. So to begin, I started blossoming when I was 7. I'm now 22. Obviously, Anna and Elsa are big girls now. And I'm mixed race, so many people in this small southern town I live in call me exotic. I hate this. I also work for a Walmart on the rich side of my city. For those who don't believe me, my store is located where all of the town's doctors and lawyers live. Theaters include an IMAX theater where all the malls we have, 3 near the Walmart I work at, 1 Olive Garden, 2 Chuck E. Cheese's, every fancy electronics store out there, and a few more places that most rich people shop. Also, almost all of the people that came into my store actually wore clothes more expensive than my entire wardrobe. Anyway, enough ranting. This story takes place 3 hours after I clock in for my shift. I work in the deli area of my store and often work with customers while trying to complete my own tasks. Anyway, I'm helping this woman who looks about 40 to 50 slicing some meat while her son is staring at my breasts. I ignore it, and once they are helped, I see them every once in a while wandering around the area. It's about an hour before I need to clock off. They are still around. He is still staring at my breasts every time he comes near. I walk into the clock in, clock out area and clock off, but it feels like someone is following me. Odd, but I try to ignore it. I then get to the bathroom before the mother and her son stop me. The next conversation goes like this. The young boy goes, "Hey, would you like to go out with me?" He's still staring at my boobs and not even looking up. And I say, "I'm sorry, but I'm in a relationship right now. Good luck." I say this while crossing my arms over my breasts, uncomfortable. And the mum goes, "Look, I will pay you $200 to date my son per week. He has always wanted a big-breasted, exotic, non-white girl like you. Just dump your garbage and date my son." I say, "I'm sorry, but no. Now please leave me alone." And I say this while darting into the bathroom. She bolts in and sits in the stall next to me and oddly enough, pretends to pee. Ew. I then say to her, "Leave me alone." I then file my taxes and wash my hands. She bolts out of the stall and runs, berating me on how a slut like me should be lucky to be considered by her handsome and wealthy son. Ignoring her, I walk out of the bathroom and her son gropes my breasts. I bend my knees backwards with force and kick his balls. I ran, wanting to get away from this, and I'll tell you the aftermath when it happens. So far, I'm at home with my kitten, Polly Jane, and waiting for tomorrow's hell. If I was this person, I would have been heading straight to the police. This is not only not okay, but this is hella creepy. But seriously, no wonder this kid thinks that kind of behavior is okay with a mother like that. He really thinks that he can just grab someone's breasts, and his mum thinks that she can buy somebody for $200 a week. I'm sure you can tell, but this one makes me pretty angry, so I'll make sure to post the aftermath when it comes. Alright everyone, that is that for today's episode of Entitled Parents. I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I really do hope you guys are liking these longer episodes. They do take me a little bit longer to create and edit, but that's absolutely fine. If it's something that you guys enjoy, I'm more than happy to put in the hard work for you guys. At the end of the day, I don't make these videos for my own entertainment, I make them for your entertainment, and that's always something that will be at front and center of my mind. So please always leave me suggestions, tips, feedback, whatever you can to make my videos better and make them more enjoyable for you. Just a reminder as well, I do have a Twitter and Instagram. They are both at Bumfris. Right now the Instagram is being unused. However, in the near future, I plan on posting very frequently, so make sure to follow me there primarily because that'll be a really good way for you guys to contact me as well. But otherwise, that is going to wrap things up for today's episode of Entitled Parents. I just want to say again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another Reddit video. Bye.